So a lot of conversations coming out of what happened in Newtown, Connecticut. By the way, as we go through the program, I want to get into this. Why is Obama shooting Santa Claus? And Dana Siegelman is going to drop by. It's going to be, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. But in any case, a lot of conversation about what could have been done, what should have been done, what, et cetera. A million speculations with regard to Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Newtown, Connecticut, excuse me. And one of these voices has been Charlotte Allen. Charlotte is a PhD, is a conservative journalist, contributor to the National Review Online, and author of The Human Christ. You can read her writings at nationalreview.com. And her Twitter is @mean, as in MEAN, Charlotte, CHARLOTTE. Do I have that right, Charlotte?
You've got it right, yeah.
Okay, great. Welcome to the program.
Oh, well, it's really good to be here, Tom.
Thank you. I thought you were with the Independent Women's Forum. Are you not?
Yes, well, I used to be, and occasionally I do a little bit of work for them, but I'm not officially affiliated with them right now.
Okay, because I thought we'd had you on once before from there.
You probably did, yeah.
All right, so in any case, you wrote a piece, which I saw republished over at Think Progress, in which you suggested that, well, I'll quote you, there didn't even seem to be a male janitor to heave his bucket at Adam Lanza's knees. Women and small children are sitting ducks for mass murderers. Huh?
Well, in fact, that was the case. There is a slight factual error in that story. There were apparently 2 male employees out of 52 at this school, which serves about 500 children. 2 male employees. I have not read a word about them. I think I saw something about a custodian running down the hallway. That's all I know. I don't even know if it was a male or a female part-timer. There's one male teacher. I have no idea whether he was there. All the news that I've read is about the fact that the place seemed to be just solid women teachers.
But you're arguing that women teach by the way, the same people that conservatives just a few weeks ago were calling union thugs. That these union thugs were unable to take down this young man shooting, and I'd prefer not to say his name on the air. They were unable to take him down because they were lacking male genitalia. I don't get it.
Well, I don't get what the union thugs thing is. If you look
these were all unionized teachers.
If you look at the at all the pictures of all the demonstrations, say in Wisconsin or whatever, I mean, you see a lot of men. I don't know who those men are. They're presumably, some of them are teachers, some of them work for SEIU.
Okay,
I mean, it's ridiculous to compare them to a group. I mean, all you have to do is go online and you see that the entire employment structure, except for these 2 guys, was female. It was like
right. So these female union thugs were unsuccessful at stopping a mass shooting or these female teachers. Let's just take the union thugs out of it. These female teachers, because they were women, could not stop this man from shooting up the school. Is that your point?
The point I'm making is this: that in fact they were all women, or practically all women, except for a couple men who I don't know were there or not. The fact remains that the entire structure of the staff for that school was female, and it's in fact true that men are simply more aggressive than women. I mean, all you have to do is look at crime statistics. The people who are actually the shooters, Adam Lanza, I'm not afraid to say his name.
I'm not afraid to. I just think that what I know from the psychological studies that have been done on people who commit mass murder suicides is that they want their name out there. So I don't want to give him the satisfaction, frankly.
Gerald Loeffner, who killed a bunch of people around Gabrielle Gifford, all men. The Aurora shooter, men. This is something that
so should all men be castrated?
But it's in fact the case. Men are simply. I mean, you must know this from your own experience dealing with women, your brothers, your father, that men are simply they're physically bigger and stronger than women. By and large, sure, there's some outliners who might be a little.
I don't disagree with that point at all, Charlotte. But your point that had there been men in this school, this could have been avoided.
It could have been. I'm not saying that it could have been avoided. The guy shot through the door. I mean, obviously there was going to be some shooting, but I'm saying that it's possible that the death toll could have been mitigated.
Do you know, Charlotte? Do you know that in Columbine there was an armed male guard in that school at the time of the shooting? And do you know what he did?
What did he do?
He ran in the other direction.
Well, he was a coward and a fool.
Well, let me give you some examples then of men who are not cowards. A fellow by the name of Brendan McCown confronted an assailant. This was in 2005 at a shopping mall in Tacoma, Washington. A fellow by the name of Brendan McCown, who was carrying a licensed and concealed handgun, pulled it out and tried to stop this guy who was in the middle of committing a mass murder. The assailant, I'm reading from the news report, the assailant pumped several bullets into McCown and wounded 6 people before eventually surrendering. Similarly, in Tyler, Texas, that same year, a civilian named Mark Wilson fired his licensed handgun at a man on a rampage in the county courthouse. Wilson, who was a firearms instructor, was shot dead by the assailant who was wielding an AK-47, a semi-automatic assault rifle, just like this young man was. How could you possibly make the case? This is the only 2 times in the last 3 decades when an armed civilian and a man nearby was able to pull a gun on a mass shooter. And in both cases, they were murdered by the mass shooter. Are you suggesting that men should have been in the classrooms to be meat shields?
I'm saying that I'm not saying, obviously, I mean, that's why people die in wars. I'm not saying that men are a magical presence, but I'm saying that they can and often do manage to protect and to stop killers, which is exactly what happened in the Gifford shooting last year. Guys, it was a guy who threw a chair at Lochner and a guy who tackled him, a 74-year-old man who was a
But that was because his gun jammed.
And, well,
Lochner's gun jammed, and when he bent down to try and get a new clip and to try and unjam his gun, I mean, if I'm guessing that look at what happened in Sandy Hook. You have Principal Dawn Hochsprung. She ran at the assailant. If his gun had jammed, she would have taken him down. Then Mary Surlock, another Union thug, she ran at the shooter, and he killed her.
Union thug. You're talking about 2 different groups of people, and all you have to do is look at those. I
am talking about these noble teachers who attacked the shooter, just like you're saying a man should do, and they died, and conservatives call them Union thugs.
Dawn Hochschild is a heroine, but I have a feeling we don't know really what happened, that she was not effective. But I'm saying that a guy might have been affected. That's what I'm saying. And when you have some guys who are in decent physical shape on the premises, I think it can make a huge difference. Yes, maybe children would have died, but maybe not so many. That's the point I'm making. Here's a guy who knows already that he is entering a colony of women, essentially. He's entering a place where there are over 500 people, and
he's entering a colony of unarmed people, Charlotte.
On the premises,
and he's carrying an assault weapon.
Women are not as physically strong. They're not as trained.
If he was a karate expert, I would agree with you. But this guy had an AR-15. I mean, he had a Bushmaster. Well, Charlotte, I guess you've made your point. I've made mine. I appreciate you dropping by.
Hi, Tom, but I stand by my argument.
Okay, and well, you should. NationalReview.com. You can read Charlotte Allen's work.